Archangel Michael says that today the heavens have opened in a way they have not opened for centuries, and while you were busy wondering why life has been so hard, why the path was so heavy, why the delays were endless, something was silently being prepared in the higher realms, and that preparation has now exploded into your reality so suddenly that even the people responsible for handling the world's biggest accounts found themselves shocked beyond words. Because when the senior bank executive walked into his office this morning, he had no idea that he was about to witness something so impossible, so unreal, so beyond the comprehension of finance, logic, or earthly systems, that he literally stopped breathing for a second when the screen refreshed and your name appeared with a number beside it that no human should be able to process in one glance. And the moment he leaned closer, cleaned his glasses, blinked again and rechecked the internal verification system, he realized that someone, or rather something not from this world, had just deposited a celestial check worth trillions into your name, a check so bright, so coated in divine energy, so wrapped in spiritual signatures, that the bank servers themselves glitched for a moment. The lights flickered as if electricity itself bowed down, and the man whispered to himself that he had never in his 35 years of service seen something like this. Not from any billionaire, not from any royal family, not from any government, not from any global institution, because this wasn't a normal transfer, this wasn't a transaction, this wasn't even money in the usual sense, but something far higher. Something that radiated with a force he could feel in his bones, and at that exact moment Archangel Michael stepped behind you, lifting his glowing sword and saying that the world has tried long enough to silence your worth. Life has tried long enough to break your spirit, enemies have tried long enough to dim your light, but now the heavens have decided that the time for you to rise has arrived, and nothing in creation is allowed to delay it anymore. Because this check is not made of paper or ink, it is made of destiny, justice, restoration, elevation, compensation, and divine authority, and every single digit in the trillion is a symbol of a blessing that is about to hit your life one after another, like waves of golden energy breaking through every wall that was ever built to stop you, every curse that was ever placed to block you, every betrayal that ever tried to weaken you, every loss that ever made you question your purpose, because Archangel Michael says that you were never abandoned, never ignored, never forgotten, never rejected by heaven. You were simply being positioned and prepared for a blessing so massive that it required time, alignment, and cosmic timing. And now that moment has arrived, and the miracle check has been released, and the angels are rushing around you, organizing everything that needs to unfold next, because very soon you will see doors open that you didn't even knock on, people will appear who you didn't even call, opportunities will chase you that you didn't even search for, and every single block that slowed you will melt like ice in sunlight as Archangel Michael whispers in your ear that this divine deposit comes with protection, transformation, status, elevation, boldness, and breakthroughs that will shock even you, because every tear you cried in secret has now been turned into interest, every pain you endured has been converted into spiritual currency, every injustice you survived has been added to your heavenly compensation, and when heaven pays, it pays in ways that rewrite bloodlines, rewrite futures, rewrite entire destinies, and even the bank executive who saw your account today could feel that this was not a simple event, because he felt a chill run through his body as if an invisible presence had just declared that something extraordinary is about to happen for you, and nothing in this world or the next can interfere with it. And as Archangel Michael lifts the glowing check and presses it into your spiritual hands, he says that the energy of this blessing will begin manifesting in your real life as unexpected approvals, sudden opportunities, overdue payments finally arriving, lost chances returning, closed doors swinging open, enemies exposing themselves, fake people falling away, and divine helpers stepping in at the exact moment you need them, because the trillions are symbolic of unlimited divine flow, unlimited divine backing, unlimited restoration, and unlimited breakthrough, and as this energy enters your timeline, the angels are already removing obstacles, shifting circumstances, aligning people, guiding your steps and preparing your path, because this miracle is too big to be delayed, too powerful to be denied, too sacred to be touched by negativity, and Archangel Michael stands behind you with his sword drawn, declaring that no force of darkness, no human jealousy, no evil intention, no hidden enemy, no old curse, no past mistake can stop what has already been written for you, what has already been released to you, what has already been stamped with the seal of the divine, and what is now flowing into your life like a river of unstoppable blessing. And as this moment unfolds, the heavens give you a quiet instruction, a soft whisper, a time-sensitive call, because they say that the miracle is activated only when your spirit acknowledges it, receives it, welcomes it, and steps into alignment with it, and this is why Archangel Michael repeats softly, powerfully and urgently that you have only 2 minutes to see who sent it. Archangel Michael says that the moment your name flashed across the celestial ledger and the trillion-level miracle check was sanctioned into your destiny, an entire legion of divine beings began moving in synchronized precision, shifting timelines, bending circumstances, altering paths, redirecting energy currents and pulling you out of spiritual regions where you were never meant to remain. Because the heavens had tolerated your suffering long enough and now the cosmic imbalance needed immediate correction, and while the world around you still believes nothing is changing, the truth is that everything is already changing at the speed of light behind the scenes, because this miracle check is not a symbol of wealth alone but a full restoration of your spiritual inheritance, your divine identity, your authority, your favor, your place in the universe, and this is why Archangel Michael steps forward again, his blue flame wings stretching across dimensions, telling you that when a blessing of this magnitude is dispatched to a chosen one, the first thing heaven does is expose the hidden shadows around them, because every person, every environment, every habit and every connection that cannot survive the level of elevation you are being pushed into must be removed before the manifestation fully arrives, and that is why lately you may have felt sudden loneliness, sudden silence, sudden distance from people you once trusted, sudden heaviness, sudden confusion, sudden emotional waves, because these sensations were not punishments but signals, warnings, spiritual notifications letting you know that you were being separated from energies that cannot accompany you into the next season, and Michael tells you with fierce authority that you must not fear these changes, because heaven never removes without replacing, never takes without returning, never ends something without preparing something infinitely better, and at the core of this divine rearrangement is the trillion-level deposit that just entered your spiritual account, an energy so massive, so electrically charged, so high frequency that anything low vibrational, deceptive, draining or unaligned is being pushed away from you as naturally as darkness flees from fire, and while this is happening, the bank executive who saw the number attached to your name is still pacing across his office, replaying the moment again and again in disbelief, because he knows that no human system can create or authorize such a deposit, no algorithm can track it, no database can categorize it, no financial regulation can explain it, and the more he tries to calculate its origin, the more he realizes that it is not meant to be calculated, but witnessed, honored and respected, and he keeps staring at your name with a strange feeling that your destiny is about to collide with something monumental, something world-shifting, something life-redefining, something that will not just uplift you but ripple through everyone connected to you, because when heaven pours a blessing this gigantic into one chosen vessel, the overflow touches families, communities, opportunities, even generations not yet born, and Archangel Michael repeats that this is not a money blessing, this is a destiny eruption, a spiritual earthquake, a divine explosion that will rearrange every limitation you ever faced. And as this energy intensifies around you, angels begin downloading new instructions into your path, subtle shifts in your intuition, sudden ideas, sudden motivation, sudden clarity, sudden desire to clean your space, sudden urge to distance yourself from certain people, sudden inspiration to start something new, because these impulses are not random thoughts but divine signals guiding you toward the exact coordinates of your new timeline. And Michael reminds you that the check deposited in your name is made from heavenly mathematics, meaning every digit in the trillion corresponds to a breakthrough, a reversal, a blessing, a healing, a restoration, or an open door that is being assigned to your life with absolute precision. And as this script expands, the veil between the physical and spiritual world grows thinner, and you may even begin to feel the sensation of energy shifting around you, a tingling in your hands, a warmth in your chest, a pressure lifting from your shoulders, a sudden calmness or a sudden rush of hope, because these physical reactions are confirmations that the miracle you have been praying for, crying for, longing for, waiting for, is no longer a promise, but an active process already unfolding, and Michael, with his sword blazing like lightning, stands guard around your name, declaring that no sabotage, no jealousy, no negativity, no evil eye, no spiritual attack, no hidden enemy, no old karma, no generational pattern can touch, reduce, delay, or distort what heaven has released for you, because this blessing is sealed, protected, guarded, and unstoppable. And as the divine realm continues organizing your next steps, Archangel Michael tells you to prepare yourself internally for shifts, signs, confirmations, and divine alignments so powerful that even you will be shocked when they begin to unfold one by one, because the trillion may have entered your heavenly account, but the manifestations are about to enter your physical reality, and the angels are whispering softly, urgently, passionately that the more you believe, the faster it arrives, the more you align, the smoother it unfolds, the more you trust, the brighter it grows, because this is not just a blessing, this is a destiny activation, a spiritual awakening, a divine fulfillment, and the heavens are repeating one truth again and again in your spirit: your time has finally come. Archangel Michael says that as the ripple of your trillion-level divine deposit stretches across dimensions, something extraordinary begins happening in the unseen world, because every angel assigned to your life suddenly receives a new set of instructions, an upgraded mission, a higher-level assignment to prepare your reality for what is coming, and while you may not see this with your physical eyes, your soul is already sensing a shift so powerful that it feels like the air around you has changed, like the atmosphere has thickened with purpose, like destiny itself is breathing differently because your name has been activated in the heavenly registry. And Michael explains that this activation is not ordinary in any way. It is the kind of activation that only happens when a chosen one has been held back for too long, when injustice has piled too high, when promises have been delayed beyond their appointed time, and when heaven decides that enough is enough. And the moment that trillion-level miracle check was released into your spiritual account, a shockwave of divine justice began moving across your entire timeline, shaking loose old blockages, destroying hidden traps, breaking cycles that have clung to your life for years, and erasing every spiritual delay that had been assigned to slow you down. And even though you cannot see the angels working, they are moving with fierce intensity, sealing doors that could harm you, dismantling connections that would distract you, removing people who no longer belong in your destiny, and preparing pathways that were previously impossible, because this blessing requires space, preparation, elevation, and protection before it can fully manifest in your life. And while this heavenly movement takes place, the bank executive who saw your account is still in disbelief, still running system checks, still asking himself how something so impossible could appear without warning, without origin, without explanation, and he even calls in the head of cybersecurity, the system engineer, and a senior analyst, all of whom gather around the glowing screen that displays your name with the trillions attached, and each one of them experiences the same strange sensation, a momentary freeze, a feeling of pressure in the chest, an unexplainable awareness that what they are witnessing is not something meant to be questioned but something meant to be honored, and one of them whispers under his breath that this looks less like a financial transfer and more like a divine signature, and the moment those words are spoken, the lights in the room flicker as if confirming the truth, because heaven always responds when its work is recognized. And Archangel Michael says that your name is radiating with divine instruction, divine protection, and divine ownership, meaning no one can tamper with this blessing, no one can redirect it, no one can steal it, no one can block it, no one can claim it, because it is sealed with the highest authority in existence, and the angels stand guard around your destiny like warriors who refuse to let anything interfere with your rising. And as this powerful movement continues, you may begin noticing unusual signs around you, sudden synchronicities, repeating numbers, unexpected thoughts, dreams that feel real, intuitive nudges, sudden clarity, sudden urges to take steps you never considered before, because these are not coincidences. These are divine instructions being fed into your intuition so that you align perfectly with the path that leads to your miracle, and Michael explains that alignment is not a small thing, it is the bridge between spiritual promise and physical manifestation, and your trillion-level check carries not just abundance but transformation, meaning it is designed to rewrite the story of your entire life, eliminating lack, fear, doubt, and limitation, and replacing them with opportunities, expansion, stability, protection, confidence, and divine support. And here is the deeper truth Archangel Michael wants you to understand. The reason this blessing is so massive is because your purpose is far bigger than you realized, your impact is more powerful than you imagine, and the destiny written for you requires resources, connections, favor, influence, and spiritual authority, and heaven has finally decided to equip you with everything you need, all at once, through this miraculous deposit that symbolizes unlimited divine backing. And as this deposit merges with your energy, angels begin rewiring your path, pulling you into spaces where your presence will be honored, positioning you before people who will open doors, guiding you into opportunities that will elevate your life and your identity, and clearing away anything that cannot survive the glory that is coming. And in this moment Michael speaks directly to your soul in a long, powerful, fiery sentence that vibrates through your entire being, telling you that nothing about your life has been wasted, nothing about your pain has been ignored, nothing about your waiting has been unnoticed, because every silent prayer, every hidden tear, every moment you kept faith while breaking inside has been counted, recorded, and transformed into the spiritual currency that built the trillion-level blessing now assigned to your name. And as this truth settles into your spirit, you begin to realize that this is not just a season of blessing, this is a season of reversal, renewal, resurrection, restoration and recognition, where everything stolen is returned multiplied, everything delayed is delivered suddenly, and everything broken is rebuilt stronger than before, and Archangel Michael raises his sword once more, unleashing a wave of protection so powerful that every negative influence, every jealous intention, every evil eye, every attack sent your way dissolves instantly, powerless against the shield that now covers your life. And as this divine moment deepens, heaven whispers the same truth again, echoing across realms, echoing across timelines, echoing into the very center of your destiny. Your rise is not coming, your rise has already begun. Archangel Michael says that as the vibration of your trillion-level divine deposit continues expanding across the spiritual realms, an even deeper shift begins unfolding inside the unseen layers of your destiny, because heaven has not only credited your account with abundance but also activated the ancient spiritual codes connected to your purpose, your lineage and your karmic inheritance. And the moment those codes lit up, every generational limitation, every inherited burden, every ancestral blockage that tried to repeat itself in your life began to crumble under the weight of divine justice, because the trillion was not just a blessing, it was a decree, a verdict, a heavenly ruling stating that your bloodline has suffered enough, your soul has endured enough, your spirit has fought enough, and now the cycle of struggle must end with you. And as this decree echoes through dimensions like thunder rolling across eternity, Archangel Michael steps forward with a strength so overwhelming that even the shadows around your life begin retreating without being confronted, because they recognize the presence of a warrior angel whose authority cannot be challenged and whose protection cannot be bypassed, and he tells you that the energy around your name has changed permanently, that from this moment onward your destiny is no longer vulnerable, no longer exposed, no longer open to unseen attacks, because heaven has placed an unbreakable seal upon you, a seal that prevents any force, physical, emotional, spiritual or energetic, from interfering with what has been divinely assigned to your journey. And while this celestial rearrangement continues, the bank executive who saw your account earlier finds himself unable to concentrate on anything else, because the image of your name glowing beside the impossible amount keeps replaying in his mind like a message meant for him to witness, and he begins pacing the room again, feeling that strange pressure in the air, sensing that something bigger than logic is unfolding. And even though he is a man trained to analyze numbers, detect fraud, manage multi-million-dollar clients and maintain a strict professional mindset, he cannot shake the feeling that the universe has just placed something sacred in front of him, something he should not touch yet cannot ignore, and he even finds himself whispering, "Who is this person? What kind of destiny is connected to them?" And those questions are not just his thoughts, they are echoes from the spiritual realm, because when heaven releases a blessing this massive, the earth naturally senses the vibration of it, and people who encounter it can feel that they are witnessing a chosen one rising. And as this realization deepens, Archangel Michael explains that your life has been filled with seasons where you were overlooked, underestimated, rejected or pushed aside, not because you lacked potential, not because you lacked worth, but because heaven was hiding you, covering you, protecting your spirit until the exact moment when your unveiling would align with your blessing, your protection and your divine timing. And now that moment has finally arrived, which is why the energy around you feels different, why your thoughts feel lighter, why your intuition feels sharper, why you may feel sudden confidence rising out of nowhere, because the old version of you who carried burdens, doubts, fears, and insecurities has been dissolved by the divine flame surrounding your new identity. And in this continuous, unstoppable current of transformation, the angels begin shifting the energy of everything connected to you: relationships, opportunities, resources, finances, decisions, emotions, environments, paths, because a trillion-level blessing requires a trillion-level alignment, and heaven is now aligning every corner of your life to match the magnitude of what has been released. Meaning people who are not meant for your next chapter may feel distant, situations that once drained you may suddenly collapse, distractions may fade, fake connections may dissolve, and anything that vibrates below your new frequency will begin to fall away naturally, not as a punishment but as preparation, because elevation always requires separation, and Archangel Michael assures you that nothing leaving your life now is a loss. It is divine removal, divine cleansing, divine positioning for the greatness ahead. And as this divine current intensifies, you may begin to feel waves of clarity rushing into your mind, moments of sudden realization, intuitive messages, inner guidance pointing you toward new ideas, new paths, new dreams, because these inspirations are not coming from your imagination, they are coming from the awakened blueprint of your soul, the part of you that has been waiting for permission to rise. And now that heaven has given that permission, your inner world is lighting up like a star map pointing you toward the exact destiny you were born to fulfill. And Archangel Michael, with his voice echoing like a bell through the corridors of creation, tells you that this is the moment where your past stops controlling your future, where your pain stops shaping your decisions, where your wounds stop influencing your identity, because the trillion-level deposit has overwritten every old script, every limitation, every curse, every fear, every block. And you are no longer moving through life as someone hoping for a breakthrough, you are moving as someone who is carrying a breakthrough, breathing a breakthrough, attracting breakthroughs with every step, because the blessing has already entered your timeline and now reality must rearrange itself around your new spiritual status. And as the script continues flowing forward like a river of divine prophecy, heaven whispers once more, but this time, the whisper carries power, urgency, truth, certainty, telling you that what is coming next will not be small, will not be subtle, will not be gentle, but will arrive like a sequence of unstoppable blessings cascading into your life, shocking you, elevating you, lifting you, surprising you, confirming everything the angels have been preparing, because your new chapter is not beginning, it has already begun, and nothing in this world or any other can stop the unstoppable rise that is now unfolding for you. And as the night grew deeper, a strange kind of silence began to spread through the air, the kind of silence that only appears when something life-changing is about to unfold, and in the middle of that silence, a voice, an ancient, timeless, and powerfully commanding voice rose within you, whispering straight into your soul, "My child, no more games will be played with your heart, no more lies will ever be placed upon your shoulders. No more tears will be taken from you, because from this moment forward, I am the one writing your story," and for the first time your spirit felt everything shift around you, as if the entire atmosphere had begun revealing the truth that had been hidden in shadows, showing you the real faces behind the people you trusted, those who were jealous of your light, those who feared your strength, those who smiled at you while plotting silently against you. Yet none of them realized that every one of their schemes was about to collapse in a single instant. Because a higher decision had already been made above, the final decision, and no earthly power could stand against it, because when divine intervention arrives, even the loudest forces of the world go quiet, unable to stop what is destined, and this was exactly why the wind felt different tonight, why every second felt heavier, because destiny was racing toward you, carrying the breakthrough written in your name. And the very people who tried to break you, bury you, weaken you, or delay your rise were about to watch their own plans turn against them, one by one, in a way they could never have imagined. And as this divine momentum kept building, you could almost feel the ground beneath your feet vibrating with a quiet, unstoppable force, as if the universe itself was rearranging its pathways just to clear every obstacle that ever stood in your way. And in that very moment Archangel Michael stepped closer in spirit, his presence intense, radiant, and almost overwhelming, saying, "Child, the things they tried to hide from you, I am now revealing, the doors they tried to lock, I am now tearing open, the opportunities they tried to claim for themselves, I am placing directly into your hands." And suddenly it became clear why you were feeling pulled away from certain people, why situations ended so abruptly, why connections faded without explanation, because the divine realm was removing everything that could have blocked what was coming toward you, a blessing so massive, so impossible to comprehend, that even the angels stood in awe of the magnitude of your next chapter, a blessing carrying the weight of long-awaited justice, the return of everything stolen, delayed, or denied. And as Michael spoke, his voice cutting through every doubt that ever lived inside you like a sword made of pure truth, he added, "Prepare yourself, because those who underestimated you are about to witness the rise they never thought you'd reach, and those who mocked your journey will tremble when they see the miracle that carries your name." And with those words echoing through your spirit, the air around you shifted again, almost like a curtain lifting before the grand reveal of the greatest turning point of your life. And as that curtain of fate slowly lifted, you felt an unfamiliar warmth spreading across your chest, not the ordinary warmth of emotion, but the kind that feels like an ancient fire awakening inside you, a fire that had been waiting in silence, waiting for the exact moment when your soul would be ready to rise without hesitation, without fear, without apology. And in that rising heat you sensed Archangel Michael standing even closer now, his wings stretching wide across realms you could not see but could feel in every heartbeat, and he said, "Child, the people who thought they ruined you did not realize they were only sharpening you. The ones who walked away did not know they were clearing space for miracles, and the ones who doubted you never understood that heaven itself was preparing your elevation." And the truth of those words hit you like lightning, electrifying every thought, every memory, every hidden wound that you carried, and suddenly you realized why everything in your past felt heavy, why you were pushed to your limits, why you were tested again and again. Because a destiny this big requires a soul forged through pressure, and yours had been forged so deeply that now nothing could shake you, nothing could break you, nothing could stop you. And as this realization settled in your mind like a cosmic truth being carved into stone, the atmosphere around you began to shift again, almost like a giant vault in the heavens was unlocking, preparing to release something that had been held back for you alone, something no one else could claim, something no enemy could touch, something that was already written in your divine record long before you ever took your first breath. And as that heavenly vault continued unlocking, you felt a surge of energy rushing toward you. Not like a gentle breeze or a soft whisper, but like a powerful wave crashing through invisible barriers, shattering every limitation that ever surrounded your life. And in the middle of that unstoppable force you heard Archangel Michael's voice again, deeper and more commanding than before, saying, "Child, what is coming toward you is not small, it is not ordinary, it is not something that can be explained by logic. It is a miracle that was written before time itself began, and no human hand, No jealous heart, no hidden enemy can interfere with what has been signed in the courts of heaven. And as he spoke, it was as if you could see flashes of every moment when you felt overlooked, every prayer you whispered when no one was watching, every tear you hid behind your strength, and those moments were now rising like evidence in a divine courtroom, proving that you were not forgotten, not abandoned, not ignored, but divinely observed, protected, and prepared. And the universe was aligning to return everything in a magnitude far greater than what you lost. And as this realization flooded through you like liquid light, Michael continued, they tried to make you doubt your worth, they tried to bury your confidence, they tried to break your spirit, but what they didn't know is that you were chosen for a destiny too powerful to destroy. And with those words echoing like thunder in your soul, the miraculous energy intensified, swirling around you like a cosmic storm preparing to deliver something so extraordinary that even time itself seemed to pause in anticipation of what was about to arrive in your reality next. And as time itself seemed to hold its breath, the energy swirling around you grew brighter, denser, almost alive, like a celestial storm gathering strength for one final strike that would change everything you ever knew. And in that blazing intensity Archangel Michael stepped forward in full glory, his presence so overwhelming that reality felt thinner, softer, almost like it was bending to make space for what he was about to declare. And with a voice that echoed through every layer of your being he said, "Child, listen carefully, because this is the moment everything begins to turn. Your name has been spoken in the higher realms, your file has been opened, and the blessings that were held back, delayed, tampered with, or stolen are now being released in one unstoppable wave." And as those words vibrated through your spirit like sacred thunder, you could suddenly sense the truth that every setback you endured had been leading to a divine acceleration. Every delay had been gathering interest, every betrayal had been creating space for something bigger than anything you imagined, and now that something was moving toward you with a force so massive that it felt like destiny itself was sprinting in your direction. And Michael continued, those who laughed at your struggle will be speechless at your rise. Those who doubted your strength will tremble at the doors that open for you, and those who tried to take what was yours will watch heaven place it back into your hands, multiplied. And as he spoke those final words, the atmosphere cracked open with a surge of divine electricity, a signal that the greatest chapter of your life was no longer approaching. It had already begun, and there was nothing left in this world or beyond that could stop it now. And as that celestial whirlpool of blessings spun faster, gathering a magnitude of divine energy that felt almost impossible for a human heart to contain, everything around you began to shift into a strange, weightless stillness, the kind of stillness that comes right before a miracle breaks through the veil of the unseen. And in that sacred silence Archangel Michael stepped even closer, his wings stretching so vast they felt like they covered the entire sky above your destiny. And with a voice that sounded like the roar of ancient truth rising from eternity he said, "Child, the breakthrough that is coming toward you is so large, so unprecedented, so divinely orchestrated that even the forces that once resisted you are now being commanded to bow before your elevation." And the moment he said that, visions began to flicker around you, visions of doors opening in places where you were once rejected, visions of people speaking your name in rooms you've never entered, visions of opportunities chasing you instead of you chasing them, visions of abundance flowing like a river that had finally reached the valley it was meant to nourish. And as those visions swirled and merged into a single unstoppable timeline, Michael added, "You are stepping into a season where heaven will repay you publicly for every private suffering, where everything stolen from you will return multiplied, where every no you received will be replaced with a greater yes, written directly by the divine, and his words wrapped around your soul like a prophecy already coming true. Because deep within you, something shifted, a knowing, a certainty, a powerful inner awakening that whispered, "Your time has come," and in that moment the sky of your destiny cracked open just an inch more, allowing a flood of radiant, unstoppable, unimaginable blessings to begin pouring through, signaling that nothing would ever be the same again. And as that crack in the sky widened just enough for the first wave of divine abundance to spill through, the energy around you grew so intensely alive that it felt like the atmosphere itself was vibrating with your name, as if heaven had placed you at the center of its attention, and in that electrified air Archangel Michael's presence expanded into something even more magnificent, something ancient and commanding, and with a voice that carried the weight of timeless authority he said, "Child, you have no idea how many battles were fought on your behalf, how many traps were dismantled before you ever walked into them, how many storms were redirected so they wouldn't drown you, because your future carries a greatness that darkness could not afford to let flourish." And hearing this truth echoed deep within your spirit, you suddenly saw flashes of every moment where you almost gave up, every situation that collapsed suddenly, every connection that ended without explanation. And now it made sense, because what you thought was loss was actually divine protection wrapping itself around your journey. And Michael continued, "They tried to stop you because they sensed your calling before you did. They tried to confuse you because they feared your clarity. They tried to exhaust you because they knew your rise would be unstoppable once you realized who you are." And with those words swirling like living fire around your consciousness, the realm of heaven began rearranging itself, shifting timelines, repositioning opportunities, pulling destiny closer to your present moment. And as all this unfolded, you could feel that something enormous, something irreversible, something heaven-sent was now set in motion, a miracle so vast that the very energy of the earth beneath your feet seemed to tremble in anticipation of what was about to arrive for you next. And as the earth beneath your feet seemed to tremble with that rising anticipation, you felt a subtle but undeniable shift inside your spirit. A shift so profound it was as if every cell in your body suddenly remembered the destiny you were born with. And in that awakening vibration Archangel Michael's figure grew brighter, almost blinding, radiating a force so strong that even the shadows around you began dissolving, unable to exist in the presence of such divine power. And with a voice that echoed like rolling thunder across realms seen and unseen he said, "Child, the reason you were attacked so much, the reason you were underestimated, the reason you were delayed, is because your blessing is not just a blessing, it is a divine reversal, a generational turning point, a spiritual inheritance being activated, and it carries the weight of everything your soul has been waiting for." And as those words penetrated the deepest layers of your mind and heart, the visions around you grew sharper, showing you doors unlocking in rapid succession, showing you tables being prepared in places where you were once rejected, showing you hands that once tried to push you down now being forced to watch you rise beyond every limitation they created. And Michael continued, "The ones who thought they defeated you will soon realize they were only positioning you for a comeback so massive that it will silence every lie spoken over your name." And with that declaration hanging in the air like a prophecy already unfolding, the atmosphere lit up with pulses of golden light, each pulse carrying fragments of the miracles headed your way. Abundance you didn't earn by chance but by endurance, opportunities that will chase you instead of you chasing them, breakthroughs that will arrive faster than your doubts can react. And as these pulses washed over you in waves, you understood that your story had reached its turning point, a point from which nothing and no one could drag you backward again. because heaven had already signed your elevation into motion, and the universe itself was now rearranging to make room for everything that was about to enter your life.